evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Live with Faye. Every evening at 8 o'clock, we bring you a discussion on matters of national importance. Of course, we choose the matter of national importance, so there might be people who disagree with us. The idea with this conversation is to have a discussion with people who understand the issue better than we do, to have us be more informed by the end of the conversation. Of course, you will have instances where you disagree with what is being said. It's not my job to tell you whether to agree with something or disagree with something. It's just to bring you the information and the voices so you can decide better how you feel about something. We're not going to tell you when to be angry or when to be indignant. That's really up to you as citizens and voters of this country. There has been, of course, a lot of coverage on the Hathras case, after which, there was a sort of a lull. We've decided to pick it up again and take a look at it because the Supreme Court is hearing, a massive clutch of appeals about this case. Big lawyers, including the government's lawyer, Mr. Tushar Mehta, Harish Salve, Indra Jaisingh, Siddharth Luthra, all appearing for various parties before the Supreme Court on this one particular case, asking for justice on various matters. The interesting thing is that I'm reading out of an article published in the Economic Times. This is a PTI copy, October 15th dated, in which it says that Chief Justice Bobde has made a statement saying, let the High Court deal with this case and we are here if there's any problems, effectively saying the Allahabad High Court should monitor the investigation in the Hathras case, and the Supreme Court is there in case there is any problem. Of course, we do know that the Uttar Pradesh government has asked for the Supreme Court to monitor the CBI investigation in this case, and the state government has asked that the Supreme Court ask for fortnightly updates from the CBI on the case. In the meantime, the CBI has visited the village, it has visited the site of the cremation, it has questioned family members, and it is conducting its investigation. Our point with this conversation is to just understand if this is the right route right now that the investigation is taking as far as serving justice for the family members is concerned, and if this is really the logical route that the case should be progressing in. To help us answer questions, Mr. Sharat Pradhan, senior journalist, joining us out of Lucknow. Dr. Vikram Singh, ex-Director General of Police, Uttar Pradesh. Ms. Ranjana Kumari is a social activist, one of the strongest voices for women's rights and worker rights in our country. And Trisha Shetty is a lawyer who joins us on a regular basis, who works largely with survivors of crime of a sexual nature. I thank you all for giving us time today to be part of this conversation. If I may start with Ms. Ranjana Kumari. Ms. Kumari, we've seen a lot of activity in Delhi about the Hathras case, various pleas going before various courts, people demanding monitored investigations. Are you happy or satisfied with the manner in which the CBI is conducting this investigation right now?
First of all, thank you, Faye, for taking it up, because seems like as usual, everybody else is forgetting about it. The media is becoming silent, and also that people are not following it up, what really is happening in Uttar Pradesh. On the one side, cases of victimizing, cases of rape, killing, murdering Dalit girls have increased in UP. This case in particular, since UP High Court took the whole matter into their hand, there has been some semblance of, some kind of a process of justice. I won't say that the justice will be delivered or justice, we can see that something good will happen out of all this. So CBI inquiry 1, the family was taken to the court for giving statement. That same day we heard from some journalists from UP, from Lucknow, saying that, what's going on? Are they under strict protection of the police? They were taken in, what kind of a tutoring they have done for the family, how they have scared the family. We already know all that. So I don't know how much truth will come out of all this whole process, but certainly a semblance of process we are seeing is going on. But I have my doubts, and perhaps you can call me a cynic for saying all these things, but I've seen even at the time of Nirbhaya how much effort we had to make, and how many really not stones but mountains we had to climb and cross before the justice really was delivered. So in this case, if DM has not been suspended, not thrown out of the job. Only they have put whatever axe to the police officer. So, and DM is the one who is actually the culprit for what happened there, because without DM's decision, police cannot act. And also, of course, no higher authority, which is the Home Secretary, which is the, I would go up to the Chief Minister himself.
Absolutely.
So what kind of a chief inquiry CBI will have the courage to do, to go to the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh and say how this order was given, how she was cremated in the middle of the night, why kerosene was used for cremating her, why family was not allowed to see her. And of all the things, they're already shouting at top of their voices that there was no rape. And they have had protests. They have protests to say that they're telling lies, and her death declaration, I mean, whatever at the last moment the statement is given by the girl is what is the absolute truth, that she was gang raped, and she made that statement, and that has been a recorded statement. So I don't know, I mean, like, I am not very sure of the fairness and the justice based inquiry which will be conducted by the CBI.
Fair enough. Let me take the same question to Mr. Pradhan. Mr. Pradhan, from the point of view of journalists, there were, of course, cases brought against the journalists who were who were covering this case. Sedition, which is a government's favorite weapon against citizens and journalists, has been used in this case as well. Do you share Ms. Kumari's apprehension about justice being served in this case?
I do share her concerns, and I share her views, but there's with a slight difference. That considering that that a particular bench of the High Court took suo motu cognizance of the case, and because I believe that individuals matter a lot. It's not just the High Court, but the manner in which they had taken cognizance was very unusual, and they actually appeared to be the order, the 11-page order, reflected the agony and anguish of the bench. So it seemed that they were really sincerely concerned, and they would take this to a logical conclusion. But now subsequently, if what matters now is extremely important, that the case remains with that bench. Although one of the judges of the bench has been changed, not been changed, it was in the normal process that it got changed. So, but still, because a lot will depend on the bench which monitors the case, because everything is subjective. There is, I don't believe that there is any kind of objectivity left in the system of governance that we have. So a lot will depend on that. And if it remains with this bench, I think then there will be reason to believe and hope that justice will ultimately be delivered, and CBI will be able to conduct a fair inquiry. Because so far, there has been a case. There's one case which is starkingly similar, in which CBI dittoed the state government's, state police's report. That was the infamous case of the Badaयूं girls. They were gang raped, and the case was that they were found hanging from a tree. 15-year-old girls, they were found hanging from a tree at some 16, 17 feet, which they could have climbed also. And the state police described it as a case of suicide. And very happily, CBI dittoed that report. So, all kinds of manipulations can be done. So it depends a lot, again, on the kind of officers who are in the team, in the investigating team of the CBI. So to expect fairness these days, you depend on individuals, not in the institutions.
Mr. Pradhan, also tell us what the environment has been like in Uttar Pradesh since this case came up. We do know, at least if we look at social media, that there is a sort of great divide between people who believe that the girl should be given justice and people who believe that this entire thing is being exaggerated in order to create caste fault lines. What is the situation on the ground in Uttar Pradesh?
Well, the divide is essentially because there is a orchestrated campaign by the government from the highest level to a smear campaign against the girl. It's a matter of, it should be shameful for them to be doing that, but they are actually doing it. They're trying to turn the tables against the victim. Yeah, the story that is being built up is that the girl's brother killed the sister, honor killing. These kind of stories these narratives are being built. So, and so the manner in which an orchestrated campaign is going on The divide has to be there. The sensible people, those who can see through this game, of course, understand why it is being done. You must have seen, the manner in which they've built this narrative of a conspiracy, an international conspiracy. All that has been exposed by the affidavit that they filed in the Supreme Court. I feel the Supreme Court should take cognizance of the kind of lies that have been put in that affidavit. It amounts to perjury. So, but they think they can get away with murder. They can do anything because of the complete absence of the opposition. The opposition is dormant and it's not doing enough. And once in a while, Priyanka Gandhi comes in more like I would say more like a tourist. This has to be sustained. Akhilesh Yadav was in London blissfully. I don't know what he was. He came back 4 days back, but he hasn't shown, except for issuing a few tweets. That's about all. So you don't actually see anything on ground, and unless something is done like it was done in the Nirbhaya case. I believe. Thanks to what Ranjana Kumari was saying, the kind of things they have done in Delhi is certainly more. The lawyers who have had the courage to take up this case, it's certainly more. It makes a lot of credit to them. What should be happening in Lucknow, I think, is much less than what this case merits.
Mr. Vikram Singh, do you believe that now the Allahabad High Court monitored CBI investigation would be adequate to get to the bottom of this case?
Faye, I think there is a lot of merit in the fact that the CBI investigation is being monitored by the Allahabad High Court. It's very seldom that we have seen this kind of a situation. Number one, it is a very high profile case. Number two, it has been messed up very badly. Number three, that the conscience of the nation has been roused to a level that it may not be even second to that of the Nirbhaya case also. And therefore, to that extent, I would feel that the CBI has an onerous job, duly guided and supervised by the High Court, and therefore they have a buffer and also a strength and a shield to lean upon against all extraneous considerations. But the manner in which the evidence has been compromised, it was today that we learned, Faye, that the CCTV footage of the district hospital has been deleted and is no longer available. Never have I seen that sensitive CCTV footages are deleted and compromised within 7 days. And within 7 days of the incident, the CCTV is there for posterity, and the minimum record should at least be 90 days. More so in the backdrop of the fact that this was a case that is being investigated and they're going to be repeat investigation. They should have taken pains to ensure that the CCTV footages are preserved. Apart from the fact that they were not preserved, they were deleted. Whether compromised or deleted, it's a different matter. I do have a lurking suspicion that they were compromised and they were deleted on purpose. And I would also recommend a registration of a case under 201 of the Indian Penal Code for destruction of vital evidence. Now, coming to the fact of the medical legal examination of the deceased, that also is basically very flawed. Ranjana Kumari ji, with great profound words of wisdom, said that the deceased was gang raped. Now there are 3 videos surfacing, they say, on record on video, that the deceased said that there was a gang rape. And if the deceased is saying this on video, I see no reason, whether as an ADG or as a superintendent of police or an officer of any rank, can have the conscience to oppose what the deceased was saying. One of these 3 video clips has the sanctity of a dying declaration. Where are we? We are always barking up the wrong tree. We are again seem to be on the side of Satan. It is the sacred job of the police that we should have a conscience and be accountable to a conscience and the Constitution as much, and not to do what the law mandates. The Home Ministry has again issued an advisory. Advisory after advisory, advisory after advisory. The Home Ministry would have done well to see in the first go that all the guilty police officers and men are not only placed under suspension, but action under 166A of the Indian Penal Code, warranting a 6-month sentence, that should have been enforced. The loose cannons that the SDM, that is the joint magistrate, and the district magistrate were also placed under suspension, and further major departmental action should have been taken. And all those who were privy to the cremation, make no mistake about it, Faye, all of us were not born yesterday. We have seen enough of the administration to know that this decision was not taken in Hathras. There are those who had the remote, and whoever held the remote and was instrumental in this horrific decision should be accountable and made accountable and made to pay for it also.
Mr. Singh, a quick follow-up on that question, and you said quite rightly that the CCTV visuals in the first district hospital that the victim was taken to, now apparently are quote-unquote lost, because the hospital has said that it doesn't maintain CCTV visuals after 7 days, and so it gets deleted. But the question of the cremation, or let's call it what it is, which is the disposal of the body that was conducted by the police, the Allahabad High Court has noted that this is a violation of the young woman and her family's rights. And they've also asked the Uttar Pradesh government to come up with modalities of cremation of bodies in Hathras-like situations. But my question to you is this: do you believe that there should have been more done to whomsoever took that decision, whether it was taken on the ground or it was remote controlled by a higher up? Because there doesn't seem to have been any punishment or any payment for that action that was taken.
Where the police department is given a grant to cremate dead bodies, which is known in Urdu as Dhulai Nash, that is carrying of the dead bodies, and Chirai Nash, that is the cremation. But that is in case of dead bodies and unclaimed dead bodies, abandoned dead bodies, not dead bodies that have a family who would take the fullest responsibility of cremation with due honor, dignity, and observing all rules, all rituals, and all ceremonies. I myself it was my painful decision to cremate at least no fewer than 50 dead bodies in police custody. But I took pains. They belong to dead bodies of anti-national elements, but there also I took pains to ensure that the family members are called, they are made a part of the cremation, and the most solemn way in which the burial or the cremation had to happen happened in the presence of the family. Although, since we apprehended at that point of time that there could have been a fallout in terms of law and order, heavy police and paramilitary contingent was present to take control of any situation that may have got out of hand. That is what we are paid for, Faye. Not because that we should pour kerosene oil, as Ms. Ranjana Kumari had mentioned, to pour kerosene oil on the dead body. Article 21 about the dignity and the right to life also goes beyond to die with dignity, not to be burnt when the family is there with kerosene oil. I strongly take an exception to the manner in which this dead body was cremated. All the dead bodies that I cremated, what painful duty was, the family members are in touch with me even today, and they speak to me with the greatest of respect and gratitude even today.
The fact that the DM, can I come in here?
Yes,
Faye,
yes.
The fact that the district magistrate is there arouses suspicion that this footage in the district hospital has been removed at his instance. I think he has been kept there deliberately by the government, by the superiors from whom he actually got instructions to continue distorting the evidence or destroying the evidence. That is why he's there.
Yes. I just want to bring in Trisha Shetty here. Trisha Shetty is a lawyer who works in many of these cases. Trisha, I want to break up another story that has been largely forgotten by the press. The story of former Union Minister Chinmayanand, who's accused by a law student in Lucknow of sexual harassment. And it was a large case that was picked up entirely by the media and then promptly forgotten. It has emerged this week that the young woman in question has in fact withdrawn her statement in court and basically said that no such thing had happened. And now we understand, the prosecution has moved an application against her for perjury. Questions were of course asked on whether she was given proper protection and if she was pressurized to pull back her statement, because she made this statement under great personal risk. And I'm bringing this up now because this is what happens to cases after they leave the public glare, that witnesses turn hostile, evidence disappears, as has incidentally happened in the CCTV footage of this hospital. Trisha.
Absolutely.
One, I would not want to conflate the two issues, because we know how much they use cases like this to then say, "Arey, she retracted a statement. This girl is dead." So I don't want to conflate the Hathras issue with the Chinmayanand issue in any way. What I will highlight is, of course, the need for witness protection. Right? What I would draw parallelisms to is how we dealt with rapist Ram Rahim Singh. When he was finally found guilty, you saw the complete state of lawlessness that then descended, right? But they still deployed more people. And we saw the kind of VIP treatment that he received after being recognized as a rapist under the eyes of the learned court. And he was flown off on a chopper without any hatkadi put in. And received VVIP treatment. There were allegations that he didn't even get to sit in a jail cell. He was sitting outside. So that is the kind of parallelism I will make, not a parallelism where a girl has withdrawn allegations, because we don't know. We've not followed her through and through. But what we do know is how state machinery works to protect powerful people. In this case, coming back to the Hathras case, right? Look, I deal with rape cases frequently. I'm in hospitals, and the findings. So when there's a rape case, the CMO and the hospital authorities that conduct the a medical examination on the survivor or the victim, they write findings on the report that they publish, and they take evidence, right? So your swabs from your mouth, from your vagina, from your fingernails, whatever clippings, DNA evidence. Now, in the paper filings of the medical report that you get, they never say, was the girl raped or not? All they write is listings. Were there abrasions around the vaginal area? Were there scratches? Were there bruises? They just write listings. Now, the reason why I'm specifying this, Faye, is because Prashant Kumar, the assistant DG, made a remark saying there was no semen found in the girl's vagina, ergo she was not raped. Now, in the medical listing itself, you don't ascertain whether you were raped or not. It is not the job of a medical fraternity to ascertain if you were raped or not. It is not the job of the forensic lab. They just provide findings. They just come with expert evidence. The court decides this. So any finding to the contrary is an interference with medical legal proceedings and the judiciary, which is also what the Allahabad the bench in Lucknow stated and highlighted, that Prashant Kumar had no business to state whether the victim was raped or not, and Prashant Kumar acknowledged his mistake and said he shouldn't have. Coming back to a few things that you raised, the caste angle, I want to go back to what the victim's father said. The victim's father said, India got freedom from the British more than 70 years ago, but to know if that freedom means really anything, speak to any Dalit in this country. Right? So to anyone who says, is there a caste angle to this or not, you speak to the victim's family and see how they've been subjected. Even after Section 144 was imposed, the media was gagged. No political parties from opposition were allowed to meet. We saw a BJP ex-MLA hold a gathering in violation of Section 124 with upper caste men, with Thakur men, alleging Section 144, yes.
144,
yes. Yes, in violation of Section 124, what is the proceedings being taken against said person? We have seen, and I will take names, Raja Rajendra Singh, from the National President of All India Kshatriya Mahasabha, saying, I only know that disciples of Lord Ram will never do such a thing. We have seen Roopwati, the Thakur Sarpanch of Chandpa, saying that the accused are innocent and it's a case of honor killing, that members of the Bhim army have made it a caste issue. So why is it okay for the oppressed, in this case, the victims of the Dalit family, to not cite they're being oppressed on the basis of caste, but somehow it is okay and people from the upper caste are getting carte blanche to make the most ridiculous defamatory remarks? They've called it Naxal interference. They've called it Islamist funding. They're putting gags on media houses. So, you put a gag on everything, but you can't get away with upper caste people making the most pejoratory remarks against the victim and her family. Another thing that we must focus on is the complete dereliction, not just the dereliction, but the crimes that the state is itself guilty in committing here. They have linked, and the chief minister in this case has linked it and called it an international conspiracy on the basis of random Black Lives Movement movements that's happened, and they've linked that in what's happening in America to an international conspiracy here. So there is a reason why people are saying we do not, the victim and the family is saying, we do not trust the state machinery in this case. We are not comfortable with law and order being decided based on the state and this state jurisdiction, because from the highest of offices, from the chief minister's office to Vikram Singh, I believe, the police officer who was then suspended, everyone has not just derelicted their duty, but been complicit in criminal activity and criminal conduct, and committing, I will go so far as to say, crimes on the basis of caste atrocities in this case, not just with covering up the crime. And finally, the complete burning of the girl's body. I will go back to what the courts here said, where they said, and I will quote, the courts here said, sorry, I'm just trying to get back to the Lucknow court. They said it is it is proper for anyone that you cannot be burning off people's bodies, because it is an infringement upon human rights of the victim and her family. When in the name of law and order, you burn off and dispose a girl's body. And the court has also highlighted that this is a caste atrocity. This is caste-based atrocity. So there are multiple lapses, and I will again echo what all the panelists here have said, that at this point it is right for us to be highly suspicious and demand for accountability and for constitutional courts to overlook this matter, because what's currently happened is not right.
Very well said. In fact, I just want to read out some of the questions that are coming in from our audience. Anonymous says the verdict of the Allahabad High Court did not acknowledge the caste dynamics. Raj Sarkar says disposing of dead bodies, or not the unclaimed ones, started in Kashmir and now it's come into Hathras as well. Renu says, what will become of the family? Where will they work? Will they be banished now from that village? It's an existential crisis for them. And I want to take that question to Ranjana Kumari. What happens to the family now? We understand in the submission of the Uttar Pradesh government, the affidavit that has been filed before the court, the Uttar Pradesh government has said that they've put CCTV cameras all around the family home. It's being monitored very carefully by the police. I don't know if that's something that we should be happy about or we should be slightly apprehensive. It's also said that there will be no violation of their privacy at all. Is this something that we can take solace in, that the family is being looked after?
Well,
Ranjana ji, it's going to be a long wait before justice happens, right?
Yes, I think, Faye, this is not really protecting the family, but this is surveillance. This is something which they are very clearly trying to, they're around, they have CCTV footage. So guys like you can't go in there. No political party representative can go in there. Nobody can go and make any kind of support, statement of support. No women's groups can go there. So family has been kept under complete surveillance of the state. And from Lucknow, from Mr. Chief Minister himself. I'm saying it every time, of course, at the risk of...
Absolutely.
So now the second thing which is very important here, and why I feel that High Court, in spite of their very good intention at the moment, we are totally impressed by the way they have pulled the officers and everyone. But what really, couldn't they have said that first the DM must go? DM must go before inquiry happens. The Home Secretary must go before the inquiry happens. So nothing is just nice, good words, and that's not going to help, because after all, because this case is just not a Dalit versus upper caste case. Of course it is Dalit. Of course it is a caste thing. There is absolutely no denying. If anybody is trying to kind of deny this, I think even some people were questioning my comments on it, saying, what about women? Women are women. Why should... No, it's not women are women. It's women of a Dalit family. And that's why you could do what they did to her and to her family. Now, because, I cannot imagine this scenario repeated by the same set of people to other family, if the family were belonging to a little bit better off a farmer's family, right, or a little bit better off in terms of caste. So that's something, because they're Dalit. That's of course, but the power game which is going on. Because see, if it was not the power game, it's not the politics of it, it's not the way Uttar Pradesh government is acting and reacting to everything. If that was not the case, then I would think that CBI has a free hand to do the inquiry. And also, to top it all, Supreme Court saying that, okay, fine, we will keep an eye on High Court. Following this whole thing, could Supreme Court make some observation about the whole thing? Knowing that so much wrong, there is a violation of Constitution of India here by the local authorities, people who take the oath in the name of Constitution have done caste discrimination. Don't we say no discrimination on the basis of caste? This is a caste discrimination. Clearly, there is absolutely no question about that. So who will define that? Who is going to make a statement about? Supreme Court of India will do it. But what they did, very, very conveniently, write it, send it off to, they just, okay, fine, whatever they want to do, it is up to, they are the highest court of the country. We all respect our highest court. But look at this. When it comes to justice to a woman, justice to a Dalit woman, justice to a poor Dalit woman, then this is what happens eventually. That is why, for me, there's a lot of apprehension about CBI inquiry. Everybody sitting there now, we can say that, oh, the whole footage must have been removed because of the pressure from the district magistrate. Of course, he has interfered. Didn't he say that in front of everybody? Didn't we see that footage where he said that अभी आपको मौका है, आप बयान बदल सकते हैं, आप चाहें तो अपनी बात को आप बदल सकते हैं. क्यों भाई? Why did he threaten the Tauji of that girl? Why did he hit, or whatever, his one man? He may not have done it. I think he must be in full senses not to hit him with his feet. But hitting some Dalit with your feet, if you laat maar rahe ho tum छाती के ऊपर, so उसका क्या punishment है? वो चीजों के लिए तो कोई इंक्वायरी की जरूरत नहीं है.
It's available.
And then when the body is burnt with kerosene, what inquiry do you want to do? So, these were the immediate things that should have been suggested, done. Of course, if the inquiry will talk about whether she was raped or not, of course, all this happened in front of the eyes of the whole nation. Constitution has been violated. Guarantees given in the Constitution has not been respected. Right to life has not been respected. What more? So if Supreme Court and High Court, fine. I love the way they have pulled up the officers, the way they have asked questions. All that is all right. But that's not the road to justice.
Not the road to justice. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I just in the vein of what Ranjana Kumari ji said, I want to celebrate your anger and thank you, Dr. Ranjana Kumari, for highlighting just how depraved we are as a people right now. I want to just highlight what Senior Advocate Harish Salve said today when appearing in defense of the DG of District General of Police for UP. He said, whoever wants the protection to be handed over to the CRPF, we are fine with that. But let that not be a reflection on the UP police. My lords may clarify that. How? Like, what is your priority if you're more worried about the concern of how a police administration will look as opposed to meting justice to a victim and the family? This also goes in vein to what Yogi Ajay Bisht said when he said this is an international conspiracy to defame his administration. This shows you their priority. All they care about is getting away with, excuse my alleged murder in broad daylight, but that their reputation and image should remain sparkling clean. They don't care about justice. So I just want to highlight that this is what we're seeing in the highest courts of our land. Highest courts of our land, they're talking about the image of an administration which has inflicted deep, grave injustice to this family as opposed to providing justice to the girl, which is what Dr. Ranjana Kumari is
talking so blatantly.
Yes, Mr. Pradhan, go ahead, please.
I'm saying, and all this, I fully agree with every word of what she's saying, Trisha saying, and what I'm saying is that all this has been done so blatantly, and it's what could be a bigger shame, and the government is ready to spend tons of money on these top councils only to ensure that they continue to have a clean image, despite what they do, despite the kind of things they do. It can't be worse. I don't think it is. These kind of things have been witnessed in the past. But what else do you expect from a chief minister who himself got all his criminal cases closed with his own signatures? This is the first time that must have happened in the country. No, I don't think any chief minister has done that. And because you succeed in doing that, then God alone saved the state.
Mr. Pradhan, I have a question for you. There are a great number of scheduled caste reserved MLA seats in the UP Assembly.
Yeah, about 90 or something.
Including Hathras. So yes. Tell me, and I'm unable to understand this because I've spent the last, the Hathras seat is a scheduled caste reserved seat.
Okay.
In the UP Assembly.
Yeah.
What are these people doing? Where is the voice, or where is the Dalit voice, the reserved Dalit voice inside Assembly? What are these people doing?
They get subdued by the party that they belong to. They have to fall in line with whatever the party says. And it's very rare to come across a MLA who decides to call a spade, despite what the party might be doing. So I'm sure, I don't remember who's the MLA there from Hathras, but I don't remember his name. But whoever he is, the seat belongs to the BJP. And so that's it. For what to talk about them is somebody like Mayawati, who heads a party and supposedly built on, actually built on the strength, on the support of Dalits and the way she's been behaving. We all wishy-washy statements, once here and there. That's about all what she has done, because I don't know why, either she's been intimidated by the party, the government, and that is also being said about Akhilesh Yadav, because the kind of money they've all made during their respective regimes, they do not have the courage to fight back. Otherwise, there is no reason why they shouldn't be doing. After all, they are there. Particularly Mayawati has been there only largely on the strength of the Dalit vote. And Akhilesh, with all kinds of claims and that he's been making, he's reduced to a paper tiger. And Congress has always been down in the dumps. So that is the reason that Yogi Adityanath or Modi, they think they can do anything here. And and so far they've succeeded. Nothing succeeds like success. And Yogi Adityanath manages to, and the kind of machinery they have, the RSS and their social media, they bombard you with their own narratives, built completely on complete falsehood. And with that, they create an atmosphere which ultimately politically helps them.
Well, I just want to point out that the MLA from Hathras is one Mr. Harish Shankar Mahor, who is from the Bharatiya Janata Party with the Yogi Adityanath government. The MP from Hathras is Rajiv Singh Diler, the one who had said that, no, I asked them to cremate in the morning. They didn't listen to me, as if that were to make any difference. But really, the question that we must ask repeatedly is why there are these many, scheduled caste reserved seats within the government, and why aren't they speaking up at this point? Why is it that they are allowing, they're allowing their voices to get bullied from within the party? Is it not? And I've spoken to so many Dalit activists over the last few weeks who've told me that a case like this becomes personally painful to them, becomes physically painful to them to hear the details of such a case. But somehow, how is it that once somebody enters either an assembly hall or a parliament hall, they forget their empathy for even their own community? And this is a question we have to ask repeatedly until it becomes a question that gets an answer. Just to read out, Morris says, we are expecting to see a pink elephant if we expect justice from a man who closed every single case against himself the moment he became chief minister. This echoes what Mr. Pradhan had just said. Tanvi D says also, can we start highlighting the caste of the accused? Why are we aggressively only talking about the caste of the victim and not throwing light on the caste of the accused? I think that the caste of the accused was fairly widely discussed as well, specifically by their own community, and I want to ask Mr. Vikram Singh here. Mr. Singh, help us understand what Trisha Shetty and Mr. Pradhan just brought about. Is the Uttar Pradesh police here concerned with their own reputation? Is the Uttar Pradesh police here concerned that the members of the, the dominant caste see them as allies? What is the main concern? Or are they just towing the line of, those in power?
Faye, caste, crime and politics in northern India are so closely intertwined that it is difficult to distinguish one from the other. You touch crime and you touch caste, and you touch caste, you touch crime, and then ultimately you go right up to politics. And police cannot be bereft of all these three considerations, because police works in an environment of politics, caste, and crime and criminality. To save one's honor is a good thing, but to be shoddy about it, to be dishonest about it, to be unethical about it, it is here where the problem arises. They should have first have been professionally competent, intellectually honest and straightforward. They should have been accountable to the rule of law and the council. Nothing like this was visible. And if there's a trophy for the most bungled up operation or an investigation in the last 5 years, I think this trophy will go to the Hathras case, because they bungled up multiple times, starting from the registration of the case, not incorporating the relevant sections and invoking the sections in installments. What kind of honor are we talking about, Faye, if one is not professionally competent, one is not intellectually and morally straight? Honor comes by my conduct and my commitment to the rule of law. my commitment to the Constitution and to my conscience. It does not come by assuming a role that I am some kind of a Dabangam or Singham. Mr. Sharat Pradhan will understand. We now have officers who are on YouTube who do nothing, branded as the most corrupt, and yet they don their uniforms, probably for the sake of fake honor and a fake image, and try to build upon themselves an image, a macho image, an image that is blatantly false on the basis and the foundation of total falsehood and an absolute nonsensical foundation. But real honor comes when there is a commitment to truth, to honesty, and to the weakest person in society. Here, it has been a terrible miscarriage of justice, the like of which I have seldom seen. Ms. Trisha went along to say that the ADG spoke about the gang rape, and what was the compulsion on his part to have spoken? He should have been absolutely independent. He should have waited for time, let the experts should have spoken. And to say that the gang rape did not happen, for 3 occasions that the deceased mentioned that there was gang rape. The injury on the medico and the post-mortem says that there was injury on the back and on the lower back. I cannot go into the gory details, and on the private parts of the deceased. What more evidence is required when the deceased said that there has been gang rape, and this evidence corroborates her statement? I don't think one would be, I wouldn't say stupid, I wouldn't say dishonest. One has to be a monster with a capital M to say that gang rape did not happen.
Very well said. Very well said.
Good.
Very well said.
Ms. Ranjana Kumari, you tracked, the strongest case in our public memory is the case of Nirbhaya. You tracked it very closely yourself, I know, and we've had, the press has spoken with, Nirbhaya's mother, Asha Devi, many times, where it's unusual, where the family of the victim had to get a lawyer themselves, had to approach the court many times, had to beg for justice over and over again. But that's the reality of the country that we live in. What do you think is going to be expected, or what do you think is going to, this family is going to have to put forward in order for them to get justice if they need to? Because this is the beginning. It's nowhere near the end.
Yes, Faye. I mean, I cannot imagine the horror that they will go through in future. What happened to them is, worse enough. But now what's going to happen in the future will be really bad. I can see more bad things happening to them the moment everybody's eyes goes to the other side. Media has already closed its eyes, and slowly, UP will forget. We have forgotten. Oh, now we have forgotten. So many cases we have forgotten. I think this one will be forgotten too. And then the family is going to suffer, because this is not just the crime, but also the caste angle is involved. They may have to flee the village. They may have to, and the money to really hire the lawyers and all that. I mean, I cannot even. I don't want to go there, because I know that's going to be very tough, terrible. It's really, in Nirbhaya's case, mother must have told you many times, we have been together on the programs, on your programs together. And you know that they used to stand outside the Supreme Court of India, not allowed to hear their own daughter's hearing because of certain rules of the court. Fine. Only, there are so many stages that we had to intervene and put pressure and talk. But then one thing, let me tell you, let's not forget that was the time when Sheila Dikshit, when we went, I personally went to her house. Anyway, I don't want to give all those examples. She went to the hospital. She was forced to go to the hospital. She did. Then Manmohan Singh did go, and, and a lot of indirect support came to the family. Lot of support came to the family, not only from the people, but I don't know in this case, how many people are going to financial support? How many people are going to really get, because it's already getting wiped out from the memories of people. It's already getting, you are remembering it, I'm going to follow it up. As I told you, I promise I'm going to follow it up. But at the same time, how many people are going to stand by the family and support? How many are really going to shell out whatever? Lawyers, imagine Harish Salve being brought in. Imagine to just, to give an image to Uttar Pradesh government and DGP Uttar Pradesh government of all the people. Why? And, and then who will stand in front of Harish? Who knows? Harish Salve will be standing with the government to, In fact, in rape cases, government is supposed to give the defense lawyer to the family.
Right.
That's right. The family. That's the law of the land. But tell me, when you will have Harish Salve protecting the government and the image and the honor of the most honorable people, most I can say criminal people, and go to that extent, then how do you expect the family to defend itself? What is going to be tomorrow like for them? The caste, they will be beaten up by the upper caste people.
Here's the question, right? So if Harish Salve has come forward to defend the Uttar Pradesh police at this point, who's paying the bill of Harish Salve?
The UP government. The UP government.
Of course.
The UP government.
Do you think he's doing pro bono for UP government? Do you think things happen pro bono? Look, I mean, like this is a service professional is delivering, and for that he is going to charge, and government will pay for it, and they are the ones who must have identified him. Anyway, that's a separate issue, the money. But then who's going to be standing by the family? Which lawyer? Which lawyer will have, and not just stand by the family, mind you, 7.5 years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, who's going to be there?
Yes,
and
while we might smile about it, I must point out to our audience, when we say the Uttar Pradesh government is going to pay Harish Salve's bill to represent the UP police, that's taxpayer money. Mr. Pradhan, that's your money. You paid tax in Uttar Pradesh.
Absolutely, but this is what they've been doing. I know the same UP government. I'll just tell you, I'm digressing from the subject. Briefly, I'll tell you, I had myself filed a PIL against the most corrupt IS officer of UP, who happened to be the chief secretary. He was voted as the most corrupt by the IS association. And there were 5 lawyers. The UP government was paying their bills, and at Harish Salve's level of lawyers, all of them were Gopal Subramaniam. I'm forgetting the names. There were 5 lawyers, Ashok Desai, all these people. Their fees were paid by the government to defend the corrupt man. Eventually, the Supreme Court knocked him off. Later on, he went to jail also. But this is how it happens.
Yes.
If there was an honest man, the government would not come to defend him.
Absolutely.
That is how it goes. At that time it was a Mulayam government.
I'm going to leave this conversation here, but I will promise our viewers that we'll come back to it.
Sorry, Faye, may I just make a quick interjection? Sorry, okay. I just want to say that Harish Salve is currently, if I'm not mistaken, based out of the UK. He serves as the Queen's Counsel for England and Wales. So for a government in UP that cries so much about international conspiracy and foreign interference, they seem to have no qualms getting representation from a senior advocate who is currently not even residing in India. Okay. Second aspect is you've made a point where you said, why are the Dalit leaders who are appointed speaking out? And I completely get where you're coming from. But, I would like to say, why aren't we from upper caste communities speaking out? I think for the same reason, because let's just call it what it is. This is a mirage of a democracy right now, especially in UP. Journalists are being muzzled. Journalists are being arrested. And any activist who dares to question state complicity, state lax the behavior and violation of human rights is being arbitrarily picked up and arrested under UAPA charges, whichever, any sort of criminal charges, they're picking them up. They're filing open FIR. What does an open FIR mean? Exactly. In Hathras case, they filed an open FIR. What does an open FIR mean? You can literally put anyone's name under the charges that you have cited. So right now, all of us have to think of what we are saying as to, will we be held in contempt of court? Will we be arrested ad hoc? Will we be picked up? I feel somehow safe that at least my jurisdiction is Mumbai. Maharashtra, if I was in Delhi, would I be not taking these things into consideration? Of course I would be. More on top of that, if I'm in UP, I'll take these things even more into consideration. Right now, the act of speaking the truth gets us arrested, beaten up, defamed on social media, which Faye, you know very well too, what that feels like. Being treated as a criminal for daring to speak up against injustice and straight atrocities. So I think the responsibility is on us, people who hold positions of power, and we need to shame our kind of people, the journalists who are doing the state's dirty job. They need to be shamed. The politicians from upper castes who claim to be fighting for human rights but are not. I think at this point we need to be taking on more of the burden because we are part of the system that's oppressing them. So acknowledging that this is a failed democracy right now, that democracy is in true crisis because even judiciary is compromised. As an officer of the law, I will say the judiciary is compromised when they are, letting down citizens and constitutional rights. So we need to focus on how this is a banana republic currently, and how will we get closest to democracy and the democratic constitutional rights that we've been guaranteed. So I think the burden is on all of us to continue to hold these people accountable more than expecting the Dalit activists to, because they're fighting the same system we are and facing more oppression.
Right. Thank you, Trisha. Like I said, I'm going to leave this here. I want to thank my panelists for coming in. For my audience, thank you for tuning in. I just want to remind you that at 9 o'clock, we have a really special interview coming up. Aditya Thackeray, Minister of Environment and Tourism of the Government of Maharashtra, will be speaking to me. We'll do, we'll do a complete sort of review of the performance of the Maharashtra government on matters of environment, on the entire handling of the COVID situation and the other controversies that the government has actually tackled over the last 6 months. That's coming up at 9 o'clock. So do come back at 9 o'clock to be part of that conversation. From my point of view, we will continue to do two things out of the Hathras case. One is track the progress that the case is making in various courts and the investigation and bring it to you on a regular basis. And do continue our new series called Pass the Mic, where we're bringing in Dalit voices and giving them the platform to communicate with the other citizens of the country on the issues that the Dalit community is facing. So for now, I'm going to leave it here. Do come back at 9 o'clock for our special interview. Thanks for watching.